Welcome to the World of Wartonno, your gateway to the mysterious realms of dark ambient music and the stories that bring them to life. Every time, we uncover the haunting narratives, forgotten places, and enigmatic worlds that inspire these immersive soundscapes. Join me as we explore the depths of sound and story, where music becomes a portal to the unknown.
Ever heard of a place like so drenched in sorrow, just kind of seeps into everything?
Oh, absolutely.
Today we're taking a deep dive into this, what's it called? The Wailing Quarantine Station.
Right, yeah.
It's this like decaying facility way out on a lonely island in the Pacific. Mm-hmm. And it's more than just some spooky abandoned place. You know?
For sure.
It's a reminder of how powerful fear can be, how we react to threats we can't even see. Mm-hmm. And how those struggles can kind of echo through time.
Yeah, it's wild, right? The Wailing Quarantine Station, it's like this microcosm almost. You can see how a whole society's dealt with these huge epidemics. Imagine back then, even understanding how diseases spread was like cutting-edge stuff.
It's true. Imagine the early 1900s. Yellow fever, the Spanish flu, these weren't just headlines. This was like everyone's worst nightmare. And quarantine, often in the worst possible conditions, it was pretty much all they had to fight back.
Exactly. And that's where this Wailing Quarantine Station comes in. Picture this. These ships, right, pulling up to this isolated island. Passengers, they're carrying all their hopes for a new life, but also, unknowingly, this hidden threat. For a lot of them, this station, it wasn't a fresh start, it was the end of the line.
The end of the line is putting it lightly, from what I've read. Conditions were, to put it mildly, grim. Overcrowded, filthy. I imagine being stuck there facing a possible death sentence, totally cut off from the world.
And don't forget the medical care. It was basic at best. Without the knowledge we have now, even something small like a cut could be a death sentence. The fear, It must have been everywhere.
Almost like you can still feel it, you know. In the crumbling walls, the echoes in those empty rooms, makes you wonder if suffering, like really intense suffering, could leave some kind of mark. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's dig a little deeper into the history here. What happened at the Wailing Quarantine Station to make it so infamous? So we've talked about the Wailing Quarantine Station, the history, the fear, the isolation. But there's like this whole other side to it, something that kind of creeps me out, even if I try to be skeptical.
Right. We're talking about the stuff that goes beyond the history books. What makes the Wailing Quarantine Station really notorious? And that's the sounds.
Okay, yeah, this is the part that I find both like super interesting and kind of terrifying. You have these stories, right, from people who swear they've been near the island, fishermen, people just passing by, even some like documentary people. And what they describe, it's not easily explained.
It's crazy, right? What gets me is how similar these stories are, even across decades. They talk about these desperate cries, like wailing, carried on the wind, almost like the island itself is, sighing with all this sorrow. And then there are these whispers, super faint, like they're coming from the walls themselves, you know?
It's like something out of a ghost story, but these aren't like made-up stories. These are real accounts. And we talked about how much suffering happened there. Could it be like some kind of residual energy, you know? Mm-hmm. That fear and despair maybe is trapped there somehow?
It's definitely a possibility. It's a powerful idea, this energy. So strong, it kind of embeds itself in the place itself. But there's another theory, and it goes even deeper into the unknown.
Deeper?
Yeah.
You're gonna give me nightmares tonight?
So this theory, it says that these kinds of places, drenched in like negative energy, they become like a beacon. Something else is drawn to them, something we don't really understand, you know? Something that feeds off that human suffering.
So it's not just like echoes of the past, it's something else entirely. Well, it's both fascinating and more than a little creepy.
Exactly. That's the thing about the Wailing Quarantine Station. History, human experience, the unexplained, it all kind of comes together there. Makes you realize that some things we just don't have answers for.
Speaking of capturing the feeling of a place, you know, there was actually a musician who was so captivated by this place, the Wailing Quarantine Station. They wrote a whole piece of music about it. We've been on this like deep dive into the Wailing Quarantine Station, the history, the sadness, those creepy sounds. It really gets under your skin, you know? And there's this musician, Wartonno. They were so drawn to it, all that eerie atmosphere, that they created this piece of music, Dark Ambient, called, get this, Quarantine Station.
And it's not just a name, right? It's like they bottled up the sound of the station. Wartonno uses sound in this way that's, kind of unsettling, but you can't stop listening.
I've listened to it a bunch getting ready for today, and it's a trip. You get these deep, droning sounds, and they just go on and on, like forever. It's like the emptiness of the ocean all around the island. You feel completely isolated, like you're right there in that abandoned place.
Yeah, exactly. Those drones, they're not just background noise. They get at that isolation, the way the station's just cut off from everything. And then through those drones, you hear them. These faint cries, whispers, kind of echoing like from deep inside the music.
It's creepy, but like in a good way. It's like Wartonno somehow captured the essence of the Wailing Quarantine Station, just with sound. We were talking about how some people believe the place attracts something else. Listening to Quarantine Station, it's almost like you can hear that possibility in the music.
See, that's art, right? It gets at the stuff that's hard to put into words, those feelings, those questions, and it makes them real. Wartonno doesn't give you answers with Quarantine Station. It's more like an experience. You feel the weight of all that we don't know.
Makes you wonder, why are we so drawn to places like the Wailing Quarantine Station? What is it about these forgotten places where tragedy and mystery kind of collide that capture our imaginations?
Maybe we want to connect with the past, Try to understand what people went through, even in their darkest moments. Or maybe it's something deeper, like we're hardwired to be fascinated by the unknown. Like we recognize that some things are just bigger than us.
Whatever it is, the Wailing Quarantine Station, with its history, those sounds, and the art it inspires, it's a reminder that some places have this power, and it's hard to explain. If you're intrigued by what we talked about, check out Wartonno's Quarantine Station. It's an experience you won't forget, even after the music stops. And until next time, keep exploring, but remember, sometimes the most unsettling journeys are the ones we take inside our own heads.
Thank you for tuning in to the World of Wartonno. We truly appreciate you joining us on this journey through dark ambient music and the stories that fuel its creation. Stay curious, and we look forward to exploring more mysterious worlds with you next time. Visit wartonno.com for more.